today's drink is called Jack-o'-lantern Hell. That's not
told you. I told you it was the change.
Digital Hell? What do we call it?
It's the Jack-o'-lantern from Digital Hell.
That's what it was. Okay.
Hey everybody, welcome to Literary Lushes. I'm your host Samantha
And Megan.
and we are here today with Matthew G. Dick, author of Seed. But today we're here talking to him about a different story, a short story, Digital Hell. Welcome, Matt.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yes, thanks for coming back.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to seeing and talking with you guys again.
Oh, yay. We love hearing that.
Yeah.
And I cannot wait to get started talking
Oh
about
my
this
God,
book.
I know.
But before we get into that, because I will totally keep going and not get anywhere near this drink. So the drink we're making today is Jack-o'-lantern from Digital Hell, because his book or his short story is Digital Hell. Oh.
Yeah.
Crushing it.
I know, right?
Oh
So we have not tried this drink, but you said you made the drink, right, Matthew?
I did. And for the listeners, I'll give it a little shake there and a little drink.
Okay, so we're gonna make
It's
it.
delicious.
Some of that organic audio we just got.
Ooh.
All right, so I need to talk about this story because
It was good. It was really good. Samantha read it before I did, and she was like, listen, this is like a mind fuck story.
I think that was a direct quote.
And so,
Oh, wow.
like I, at this point, because again, 4 months old.
In a good way.
Again, 4-month-old. So I hadn't even like looked at any emails. I didn't even know the title of the thing. And she's just like, and I'm like, okay, so what do you mean by that? Like, I'm very confused. And she's like, I'm like, is this one of the things that I'm gonna be up all night because I'm scared shitless? And she's like, no, it just really makes you think.
I also told her it's kind of like if the beginning of the Bobiverse series went horribly wrong.
And so,
Exactly.
And I was like, okay, so it's a book, or it's not a book, it's a short story I should not read before bed. And I am glad I did not. So any audience members, like at this point forward, it's probably gonna be spoilers. Yeah. But my cautionary tale is please do not read it before bed unless you're one of those people who like don't like
If you just like to like really, think about life
just random
existence
things
before you go to sleep.
like, jeez.
I read it and then I was like laying in bed reading it and I was just like, holy shit. And my fiance loved your book Seed. So I was like, yeah, we're interviewing, Matthew G. Dick. He wrote Seed. He just sent me this like short story. It's blowing my mind. I was like, you have to read it. And I like shoved it in his face. I was like, you need to read this like right now because I need somebody to talk to me about this. And then he read it and he had the same reaction, like, oh man. So, I mean, I guess we should give the listeners some sort of general idea of what's happening.
So I found it. It was like in the furthest corner of the back room. Yeah, where it should be.
So for the listeners at home, Digital Hell is a short story about a guy, super short, which kudos to you for making a thing that I'm going to be thinking about years to come. Yeah. And so little words. So thanks.
Yeah, wow, thanks. Yeah.
It's basically about a guy whose conscious gets uploaded to an AI system and it just really doesn't go well.
And it didn't start out that way. He had cancer. Okay, so we're now at this point, like if you haven't read this,
spoiler,
just stop, go back and read it. It doesn't take long. It's an awesome read. You won't regret it.
We'll wait. And then elevator music.
Are you sure you're supposed to do this in a shaker and then pour?
Well, we already committed, so let's just stir it. It's
okay. So he has cancer and he's like, well, you know what? My wife is dead. My kids hate me. I'm just going to go ahead and like freeze my head.
That first sentence of the story, I'm like, well, I know where this is going.
And then I was like, he's like, I'm gonna freeze my head. I'm like, okay, I get it, I guess. And then he's like, and the doctor said, let's do it now before the cancer just randomly gets me. And I'm like, oh, he's gonna just go ahead and call it quits now. Okay, this is where this story is going. Okay. So he goes ahead and does it, whatever happens. Years later,
Well, and then he just like blinks and it's the future.
Someone's talking to him. It's a black screen. He's like, oh, if you can hear me, just think of the word Y in front of you and or the letter, not the word. Anywho, I mean, it could be the word Y, but it would be awkward. But
why am I here?
I mean,
What's going on?
Did you stare my already?
No, I did not. And so one of the things I liked, Matt, is when the student is talking to the protagonist about his new AI.
Did you already start?
I did. AI body thing. He mentions just in passing that the battery operating this unit can easily last 100 years. Just in passing, and then their conversation goes on. And then at the end of the story, it dawns on you just how long 100 years.
100 years may not seem long because, like, I'm thinking about a lifespan. Like, that to me doesn't seem long. But again, spoilers. Pain.
That with no reprieve. It's 24/7.
And you're probably going to get stuck in a sword fin that's going to totally be forgotten about for, 100 years.
And it's at least 100.
Yeah. And I'm like, you're in constant pain, just going, please let me die. Like, there's no way to, like,
you can't die. You're not even,
you can't even, like, kill yourself.
No.
Like, there's just nothing you can do except for, and you just pray that at one point somehow you get used to the pain and it just becomes one of those things that you can, or you hope the software dies. Or like, or something happens with the software and the bug corrupts or something, or it needs an update. So please hit the button to.
Well, that's what caused
like
it.
I'm saying, like a new one. I don't know. Like
yeah, it was definitely the idea of trying to make a scientifically accurate hell. That's the best way of trying to think about it.
And you didn't even
there was a line that I freaking was like, are you fucking kidding me? I think it was the way that the I can't remember his name, so I'm so sorry. I think Wilson. No, I'm making that shit up.
I wanted to say Walt, but that was from a different story we
read.
My name's
the student doctor guy.
Yes,
I cannot remember his name for the life of me. But anyways, he was like, his bedside manner sucked. Like he was.
Well, you're in atrocious pain. My bad. And then also, which it just dawned on me now. I don't know if this is where you were going. But at the end, when the guys come in to clean out his office, the protagonist sees them putting like a bunch of other hard drives in with the red light. So clearly he's not the first one to have this issue. And the student never bothered to fix it.
Or have notes, or have like other assistants helping him. Like he was just doing this shit rogue. Like what the hell? Like even today's people would at least have some kind of log or like someone overseeing them or somebody, like who would be
like if it's a red light blinking, like send help.
And then not to mention that, but he's like completely treating it like it's. I have to say it slowly because she'll hear me. Lex. So he's treating him like it's one of those.
Yep.
Like just like it's an AI. Like it's not a real person who ever had feelings or memories. Like it's just. And I'm like, what a dick. not
what a jerk. What a jerk.
Yeah, not me, but
but like, you know what? I'll change it. What an asshole. Like he's just like, oh, you're in pain? Okay, let me fix that. Oh, you know what? I actually gotta go and do something. I will be back.
It's
but like I know that that's
what was that?
But I was like so angry with this guy. I'm like, you are so blasé about this. Like, this is a human. Like, I get it. It's not a body, but it's like the conscious soul, whatever anybody wants to call it. And you were like,
so needless to say, it packed a punch.
Oh, it did.
Yeah. No, thanks. Yeah, like it was definitely an inspiration of when I went to grad school for engineering, how amazingly little oversight there is in the research labs.
Oh, see, now you hear the shit out of me. Okay.
Yeah, so like when I wrote that story, I'm like, this could totally happen. Especially when you've got a scenario where it's not quite clear, is it a person? Is it just computer? It's very vague and definitely in a research laboratory, there's really not a whole lot of you know, oversight that would look at this and say, hey, this guy is doing really bad stuff, but is it really bad stuff? Because it's just a computer. So that's kind of the whole bit of it. And definitely, I wrote that story maybe about 5 years ago. And Black Mirror was just kind of really getting going at that point. So it's definitely like a good Black Mirror episode is really what
I
it
said
is.
that
Exactly what
exact
she said.
words when I finished. I looked up and I said, holy fuck, I feel like that could have been a great Black Mirror episode. Of course, I didn't say Black Mirror.
Yeah, you call it, you were like, that show.
No, I think I said something, and then everybody like looked at me like I had like 3 heads. I'm like, oh no, that's not what it's called. It's called Black Mirror. There we go. I don't know. So we're gonna try this.
I'm really excited to try this. Give it a little stir. I think I want to add more of the simple syrup because we made so much of it. I might as well. I have to know, Matt. So the grad student in here, was he kind of? I mean, maybe it wasn't something intentional, but was he sadistic, or was it just kind of like he was more blasé and kind of like what you were saying is he's in a research lab, he views him more as AI, and to him it wasn't even like an issue that the red lights meant pain.
Yeah, it definitely was not a situation where he was sadistic. It was a situation of complicit and not empathetic to a digital person. And it's kind of an interesting theme because it theoretically someday if people could become computers, how do rights transfer to that? Things like that. And it's actually an idea that I'm going to pull the string on more on the sequel to Seed, which should be really interesting. So
I like it because is it the person who is the actual conscious uploader is the owner
of the
or
equipment?
is it the person who currently holds possession of said
whose conscious is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm like
The consciousness
I'm gonna call it
itself
USB
versus
drive.
the AI.
Is it the USB drive's owner, or is it the person who actually has possession of the USB drive, or is it the person who paid for the USB drive to be commissioned?
So it's almost like would Jarvis
Yes, there
have
you go.
legal rights?
Or is he Tony's?
We watched the What If episode today about Iron Man and Tony
that would
Stark,
be why.
so that's why that's fresh in my mind.
Well,
yeah, absolutely. And it gets even weirder when it's a situation of the human person and the digital version of that person, they're the ones in conflict with each other. So they're the same person, but they're not the same person. So which, like, do rights apply? Do they not apply? Like, I just think the whole thing is really interesting.
It's, as a lawyer, it makes my brain hurt, but as a human being, it's interesting. Digital health sticks with you. Let's put it that way.
yes, in a lasting, but like a good way, like a thought-provoking, like
yes, a
like
thought-provoking way.
So like obviously because with the Dennis C. Taylor, the Bobaverse, like when I was reading this, I'm like, oh yeah, I think I would probably totally do that.
I'm not so sure.
No, you just talked me up. It's not worth the risk.
So would you, Matt?
Ooh.
If you could, if the technology was there and it was like, you knew your life clock was ticking down, would you back up your conscious to an AI interface?
Or even just have them freeze you and thinking that you're going to become human.
And then all of a sudden
you don't know that.
Yeah, you don't know that.
Yeah, that's a really good question.
None of these guys signed up for that. Which also begs the question, were they legally allowed to do that?
You probably sign a waiver that says that they're allowed to do whatever it is to bring you back.
Ooh, if that said that, I'd probably be like, you said in
Do
a body.
you read like the user term agreements? No.
Yeah, it's probably like the term agreements for like being a guest on a podcast. It's just you sign over all the requirements.
Like we now own your soul. Yeah.
So the biggest news right now is Seed is now an audiobook available on Audible. And so really excited about that. I found a narrator that's very similar to Ray Porter, who does the Bobaverse series. And so definitely people want to check that out. You can find it on Audible by searching for Matthew G. Dick Seed. It's also on Amazon as an ebook and a paperback. And then as well, you can find me on my website at matthewgdick.com. And I'm also really active on Instagram as Matthew G. Dick as well. Really appreciate the good response of the first book. I'm working on the second book now, and hope to get that out soon.
And with that, we say, stay lively with your libations.
Ooh. Well, there was a little bit of liquor left in that. Maybe just.
I'm pretty sure that drop was liquor, just straight up liquor.
That was a good one.